Fast Track Money live session. And if this is your first time coming here, I'm Yasi, the creator behind Fast Track. So we are a content platform. We have Fast Track podcast. We have Fast Track website where we talk about career, money, and entrepreneurship. And together with me is Matthias Richter. He is creator behind Financial Imagineer. So he's famous for achieving financial independence at the age of 37. And he creates Financial Imagineer platform to share all the tips and tricks how he achieved financial independence and sharing his knowledge about investing and the money mindset and money skills. And then coming back as a background as a banker, I'm sure he has a lot to share with you. So today we are going to talk about learn money skills. So Matthias, since at what age have you started learning money skills, or from whom you learned your money skills?
Oh, I think money skills is something that comes with life, right? So the moment you are born, usually people associate having kids with costs, right? It costs money to have children and raise them and invest. And then I think from the moment you are in this world, you will see this magical thing changing hands. You will see how your parents exchange money for goods and buy stuff, buy food, buy some or pay someone, right, in a restaurant. And I believe I was very curious. I always looked at these magical things there, so-called money, right? And happily, my dad was also a banker. So I learned a lot from him, with him. I can still imagine one day he went to the bank, and in the early 1980s, in the ATMs actually here, the bills were given one by one. So let's say you want to have $300. You don't get 300 in one go. You get one, and then another one comes, and another one comes. And I was sitting on the arm of my dad, seeing these banknotes coming out. And of course, I suddenly think, oh, logical, right? Money comes from this wall. It comes out of this house here. This is where the magic stuffs come from. And then I ask him, can I pick the next one? And they say, yes, of course you can pick the next one. And then somehow, for whatever reason, I felt this is now mine because I pick it out from the wall, right? And I think this is where my journey started. Later on, as a kid, of course, like many kids in our neighborhood, we started to sell some fruits and veggies to other neighbors. We started to offer services like with my friend, we went to the bus stop to wait for people that come back from shopping with heavy grocery bags. And then we offered ourselves to carry them. Stuff like that. So we did all this. And then later on, I couldn't wait actually to go to work. So child labor is forbidden. But when I was 14, I was officially allowed to become a newspaper boy. And very happy back then, even in the mid 1990s, I could earn like $500 per month doing newspaper delivery. And there I kind of started to get really into this, like how to earn money, what to do with it. And as a 14-year-old, having $500+ of kind of allowance to your own name, it opens a lot of opportunities, right? And also opportunities for mistakes. So I bought expensive stuff that I didn't need. And then later I could feel how it's painful to waste money. And basically this whole thing started there. And I always feel like when you talk about life and money, the why is important, right? So money skills, why should you learn money skills? And I like to look at it when you're a kid, we played very often Monopoly. So that's the game where you actually cross start. Then you don't have to, you could buy some hotels or streets, or you could build up your passive income in a way. And if you don't do it, you're basically doing what people do that simply rely on one source of income. You're only getting paid when you cross the start field, right? So once per round, you get like your $2,000 from the bank. If you don't buy anything on the way, you're constantly trapped, like stepping on other people's stuff, and you're spending. And if you actually play Monopoly, you figure out very quickly, you should actually understand how this game works, right? You have to read the rules of the game, how to play it right. And I think, like with Monopoly, it should be with real life. Before you go about your life and kind of take money decisions into your hand, you should sort of understand what is the impact of doing things a certain way, or you should think about your real life, like how can you build your houses and hotels in real life, right? Otherwise, you are like the player of Monopoly just getting paid while crossing the start field every round. And we all know how that works out for the player. They usually lose, right? After a
Yeah.
few rounds, you're bankrupt, and then life sucks. Playing this game sucks. So this is why I think the big why, you should be learning money skills, no matter what is your position, your situation, because it's not like a game, it's your life, right? And we are all playing the same life, the same game in a way. So get started learning money skills. That's my big why. And I was fortunate to have it very young. How about yourself, Yasi? How did you learn it?
My story is completely opposite. I never paid attention to money. I never paid attention to like acquiring money skills because I was not even aware that, oh, there's money skill that I should learn, because I don't learn it from my parents and I don't learn it in school. In school, there's no course telling you money skills 101. And then, but there's finance 101. When you go to finance lectures, they don't teach you how to save, how to control expenses, how to invest. They teach you the theory, time value of money, compound, the theory of, I don't know, this Friedman perfect market, whatever, that people cannot relate to it, right? So even
Yes.
I have a finance degree from business school, I have to say that I was very bad with money. I never paid attention to it. Only time when the moment that I started to realize that I need to learn money skills is when I was like in a situation due to COVID that I lost my job, I lost income, and I checked my bank account and I was totally shocked at how little that I have in saving, because I was spending, and in my mind I was like, oh, as long as I do not spend more than I earn, I'm okay, right? So whatever
Mm-mm.
left over is left over. But I was never building my wealth. I was never building a safety net. So that was the moment I was like waking up and started to learn money skills, and like that's why we are here today, right? That's why we are here to helping people to wake up if you have never
Yes.
learned it elsewhere, or if you were like me, only focusing on earning, like getting your MBA, getting your master degree, getting
Mm.
job, getting promotion, getting more salary, but never focusing on managing your money. In the end, it's not going to take you where you want to be in terms of your
Yes.
personal finance. Yeah. So that was my story, not the same as yours, like the other side. Um, I learned it from the hard way.
Well, I think money skills is something that the good thing about it is it can be learned. The bad thing, though, is school usually does not teach you too much about it, right? So that's also why after I had my initial walk around with money skills from family and friends, I decided to study economics, and later I went into banking. It was simply something I was so interested to understand how this works, and that's how I ended up in wealth management eventually. And I was very grateful for that because I met so many like very wealthy people and families. I helped them, but I also understood while I learned from them, while I helped them, how they attained their status. Like what did they do to get there? How did they grow to that kind of wealth, and what they do differently from the average people, right? That's another thing I like to say. If you do what everyone does, why you expect to get more or something better than everyone else? So if you wanna have an extraordinary life, you have to learn from those who are different in a way, right?
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to serve these people and learn from them. Also with money skills, I feel once you start learning, very often a lot of people when they get into this field, they can make a lot of progress with a few small initial steps. It's not hard. And this can be super motivating and rewarding if you get started on your track, right? It could be something simple as budgeting, or like getting your money in control. Like a lot of people, they have more months left at the end of the money than they have more money left at the end of the month. So you have to figure out how to juggle that so that it
Let-
becomes the better of the two.
Let's
Yeah.
let's post this a little bit. Can you repeat that sentence so the audience can fully comprehend what do
Mm.
you mean?
Okay, sorry, I'm speaking too fast. So a lot of people, instead of having a lot of money left at the end of the month, they have a lot of months left at the end of the money.
So audience, do you understand this sentence?
And this is, of course, if you spend more than you make. And this is usually the problem of younger people when they get into life the first time. It is so interesting. Once you graduate, in some places you have student loan debt, right? In other places you are eligible for a credit card. Credit lines are being opened up for you. It's like the red carpet is here in front of you, and you can take all that money and consume. You can become part of adult society, and you can
Yeah.
you can
feel like
adult, right?
you feel like you make it.
Yes.
You make it, and then once you earn, your earning power increases, and you start to think all this image start to show up in the head.
Yes.
Oh, I deserve this car, I deserve this
Yes.
shoes,
Yes.
I
Yes.
deserve this bags, as a symbol that, oh, I made it.
Yes, it's like rewarding yourself in a way. And this is something that happens with many, many people in a way. And the problem there is that there's usually a wake up call at one point in time where people realize it cannot continue like that. Some people never have that wake up call, and they will go through life like this. The problem then is, but once they are maybe 60 or 70 years old, they have nothing, how to say, it's not like a game, like you have to have a lot of money at the end, but you have nothing to show for. And
Yeah.
a very big differentiator there is, like, if you ask the question, how much money did you earn throughout all your career? And what do you have left of that, right? And then compare the two, and you will see, have you been a wealth accumulator, or have you been somebody that is just like a flow through funnel, right?
But I think still many would argue that while you are living your life, you should also enjoy your life, not just focusing on accumulating, but also
Correct.
focus on, yeah, enjoying. So, yeah,
And this
here
is,
we can like explain this misconception that
Mhm.
we talk about understanding your expenses. And I
Yeah.
have many friends, their first reaction was managing your expenses, start saving. They was like, yeah, but I will have to forego all my leisure activities. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. The life sucks. But in reality, it is not, because once you started understanding where is your money come from, how much you receive it, and how much you need to spend it, and then not lowering your quality of life, you will immediately see that you have so much more left over at the end of the
Mm.
month. And then you can use that to invest, accumulate wealth for your future. But if you started to think that once you try to reduce your expenses equals sacrificing your quality of life, of course, then there's no motivation. But that's not true.
Yes.
That's just a misconception.
I like to compare this with the marshmallow test. Have you heard of the marshmallow test before?
No.
No? Okay, so the marshmallow test is, you have children that come to you and you tell them, look, here is one marshmallow. I put it on this plate in front of your nose. And now I'm going to leave this room together with the marshmallow and leave you with the marshmallow alone. If I come back in 5 minutes time, the marshmallow is still here, I will give you a second marshmallow. And guess what? A lot of kids, they will simply eat the marshmallow right away. Maybe not right away, but after 1-2 minutes. There are videos about that. It's so hilarious. And you will be seeing these kids being tempted by that marshmallow. What it is, in essence, is immediate gratification versus delayed gratification. And how our world works with compound interest, and that the time value of financial capital, of course, is that if you are a little more patient and disciplined, you don't eat the marshmallow right away. Maybe at the end you have 5 marshmallows, or you have a whole bag of marshmallows if you do it right. So money grows. If invested well, it grows. Wealth grows. It accumulates, right?
Yeah, but
And
I
I
want
think,
to highlight this. The thing is, I want to highlight this. The thing is, it's not that you cannot eat any marshmallows today.
yes.
It's more like if you earned like 5 marshmallows every single month, instead of eating 5, if you eat just 3, you are still feeling satisfied. You are still feeling happy. The additional 1 or 2, the marginal utility in terms of happiness
Will
is,
decrease. Yeah.
yeah, it's so small that if you just keep 3, having 3, and then keep the 2 for the future, and the 2 double into 4, the quality of life will not be impacted really
Yes.
hugely. So I would just want to highlight that, not that you are sacrificing what you can
Yes,
enjoy
yes,
today,
yes,
but
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
so some of the kids in the movie, they will smell the marshmallow, they will look at the marshmallow, and you see what's going on in their brains while they wait for their gratification, right? And I think it's also with money skills. If you learn money skills and you do something about your own money skills, improve them, there is also compounding effect, right? The more you do this, the more you learn, let's say about budgeting, about your mindset. I think a lot of it is linked to your mindset, your habits, the power of this, how to earn more money, how to get your taxes done the right way, and how to invest. The more you understand about all these topics, the better your life will eventually get. So
yeah.
this is also a compounding thing. And therefore, I think getting some basic financial literacy is very, very key. It's like I said at the beginning, like playing Monopoly without knowing the rules.
You mentioned earlier that learning financial skills is actually very easy. I fully agree with you. Despite I had so many years education, bachelor, master, I never learned money skills. But once I learned money skills, I realized that it is such an important life skill, and it's not very theoretical. It's really about like a mindset thing. It's really about understand how it works. Everybody can learn it, and literally everybody can learn it. If you finish your primary school, middle school, and literally everybody can learn it. And
Yes.
once you learn it, you will have a huge impact on your life. Not right now, maybe you can see it immediately if you take actions, and then you will see huge impact on your life in the future. That's yeah, I think it's just like looking back, I can relate to so many young professionals out there. We didn't have like a banker dad like you did, learning at a young age. But the sooner you start, the better it is, because time actually pass by, and then if you are not invested, then you are actually missing out of the compounding effect. But if
Yeah.
you start when you are 60 or 50, you still need the 10, 20 years to let the compound to kick in. So by then there will be 70 years old.
Yeah, you lose the time advantage, right? So the earlier you start, the better. And it's also of shaping your experience, right? Handling money is something you can learn from the books, but a big part of it is actually doing it. And I think if you are young, your mistakes are cheaper because you have less money to do mistakes with. And the older you get, to maybe a point where you even get an inheritance or like a big lump sum of money coming your way, if you start to do mistakes only then, or if you take care of money only then, it will hurt you many, many fold, right? So that's why also it's very important to get started handling your money earlier. And there's different ways to learn it. Most people go about DIY, do it yourself, learn by doing, learn by failing. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. But this is maybe not the smartest way. You can also learn from your family, like I mentioned. You can learn from your friends, from your environment. There, I also like to say, try to surround yourself with people that are like-minded and you can learn from. And of course, you can learn from blogs, like our blogs, right? From your Fast Track podcast, from Financial Imagineer, from the blogs we have. And you can learn from by asking questions. You can reach out, right? And recently, we have developed the money course for exactly that purpose. So in my case, it was always my thought that while I was helping the very wealthy to get wealthier, it was somehow very interesting and satisfying to do that. But I sometimes felt like I would also like to help the people that have less money to get to a certain level, to level up that part. I think is much more important than the other side, to help the ones who have done it already. So that's why Yasi and me, we collaborate and we started to have our Fast Track Money course.
What motivates me the most with this course that I feel excited about is that literally I personally experienced everything, and I experienced the transformation, and I've seen results, and I feel completely at peace with my finances. And I just find it such a pity that, other young professionals like me, we never get a chance to learn. So that's one of the motivation very interesting for me to help others to uncover this money skill, life skill, and to use it. Because I know there are a lot of people who are earning great money out there, but their expenses are huge. At the end of the day, they don't even have that much savings, or they have a fabulous, fancy lifestyle. But that is now, like, if 10, 20, 30 years later, what kind of life you will have? You will only focus on keep earning more, which means that you have to spend time on earning money. But in this course, we talk about the money mindset. Actually, money is a tool, not something that you have to chase after. You have to understand how to use your money like your soldiers and deploy them, and then use them to make more money for you so that you can free yourself up. So eventually, I think is to have more free time to enjoy life, spend time with family and friends, rather than being locked up in the cubicle 9 to 5. And that's the part I like most. It's really mind opening to understand how to use money as a tool rather than how to, learn more, get more education, find a job, and earn more. Yeah.
Yes. I think a lot of young professionals getting started on their journey, they have a very, how to say, a super good situation to get started with. They have big paychecks, they earn a lot of money, but maybe they have focused on different things than how to manage the money. And as they get paid and move and go up in the career progression, they will have peers who will show them how to enjoy life, right? So I have seen that as well on my side. If your colleagues show up with the latest cars, or they go on fancy trips, they travel business class, go 5-star hotels with their families, and so forth. And if you do the same job and get paid similarly, you might feel like you're missing out if you don't splurge like them, right? So it's like keeping up with the Joneses. You try to catch up. And at the end, what happens though is you kind of just show off or like live rich, but in the end you remain poor because you don't accumulate wealth. And the other thing is, what I find it's very important, our life is limited. We don't know how much time we have. And the earlier you tackle the money issue, the more potentially free time you will have in your life. It's not that I'm saying everyone has to retire early or stop their careers. But if you manage to find a balance between when your human capital can slowly like give up and the financial capital and the invested money can take over for you, that's what you said with the soldiers, that's where it starts to get interesting. So we have the FIRE movement. The FIRE, that means like financial independence, retire early, where people, they work very hard, they save a lot, they have huge saving rates and investment rates, and at the end they don't have to work anymore, which is great, right? But work becomes optional, and then you can maybe even pursue your passion projects and other things. And this is what I think is super interesting. If you start early with that, you may have many more options in life that you could ever imagine, because you don't have to live life like by the rule book. Go to school, university, get a good career, work for like 40 years, and then wait the moment where somebody comes and say, thank you for your 40+ year contribution. Now hereby you are free to retire. Life can be different than that, right?
Yes.
And this is what I think is interesting.
The funny thing you mentioned about that, because in the people around me, I literally see it firsthand. People work in the same company till retirement. And I think nowadays with the new generation or the younger generation, people think more opening towards their career, what they want to do in life. While in the past generation, people tend to stay in like stable, secure job, and then go to work every single day until they retire and then have a comfortable or okay retirement. I think that was the like standard life path.
Yes.
But now with the millennials, Gen Z, people become more independent. Now it's the gig economy, the freelancers, the entrepreneurs, which is very interesting. How the generations also start to change their mindsets towards job and the career.
What I really like with the new one is, I think the COVID situation forced a lot of people to rethink their life setup. It suddenly woke people up and say, hey, actually it's dangerous to just rely on one source of income. If I lose my job, I have no more income, right? And this is the thing, that where a lot of people started to have a second income, or like a second side hustle, or like a side gig, or they try to market themselves and so on. I think this is so healthy, because many people always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to diversify your assets, your money. But most people rely on one income alone, which I think doesn't make sense, because if something happens to your employer, or let's say you work for an airplane company, they cannot fly anymore, then so what? Who's going to pay you? You have to think a little bit out of the box there and be more flexible in times like this.
Yeah.
And I think that
Not
was a
just
big
about,
wake-up call.
yeah, but not just for people in this travel and tourism industry, you know. Like I would never thought that I would not have a job, you know, because
Yes.
I worked in 8 different countries. I always have very like good jobs, my dream jobs.
Yes.
I would never think I would be one day the job would disappear. That actually happened thanks to the coronavirus. But that's also a wake up call to me, as I mentioned earlier, not only to look at the finances side, but also look my view towards employment. Because I think by default, many people think once they have a job with especially big international company, that is something secure. Like they can start to plan 5-10 years, buy house, get 20-year mortgage, because that is by default. They will
This is what
always have
people
this
do.
income forever. And that's after that incident, I just feel very insecure of having one job and one income stream, like you said.
Yeah, but this is how life is being taught to us, right? So this is the monopoly of life, that the rule books that we see and people live in front of us, and what we see, this is usually what we do. So I do hope with our blog, with our podcast, with our show, we hopefully can influence some people to rethink that setup and take action towards a better version of yourself. So this is my goal. I want to help people like you, if you are here to listen to this today, to have a better life for yourself going forward. Also more relaxed with more options.
Yeah. And if you really are interested to learn more about really the money skills, and there are a lot of free resources online, you can probably find, I don't know, hundreds of videos and articles on the internet. And you can read Matthias' blog, Financial Imagineer, or read Fast Track. We write about money skills, we write about investing, personal finances, etc. Those are all free resources. Basically, everyone can learn. And there are many books that we also recommend. But if you also want to learn it like in a very systematic way, to learn how Matthias, he implements everything step by step, achieving financial independence, and uncovered how you really use money as a tool, as your soldiers to work for you in a very systematic way, that you please also you can sign up for the money course that you can find the link in the description down below. This is going to be an online course, and then you can have a free 30 minutes one-to-one consultation. And on top of that, you have a personal financial plan that we are going to complete it along the course.
Tailor-made, yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end, if you are interested, join the Fast Track Money community, where we and our past students there, we exchange money tips. We sometimes exchange our own small wins. And then at the end of the day, what we want to do is to help you really learn the money skills. And you can learn it from us, you can learn it online, but this is a critical life skills that the sooner you learn it, the better your future life will be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't play Monopoly without knowing the rules. That's my advice.
So thank you so much, guys, for being here with us, and for the audience who are here with us every single week. We really appreciate you. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like it, and follow this channel, and follow Matthias Richter, his Twitter account, Financial Imagineer, and also my Twitter account. And you can find all the links in the description. And hope to see you next week.
Thank you all. Have a good week. Bye-bye.